Okay. For the record, I paid $5.98 at Kmart for this shirt, so I've realized the wisdom of Mr. Capuano, and I want to make my comments in the same spirit of Mr. Capuano, but looking more towards the future. So, Ms. Mortensen, I've been around long enough to remember when you were started. Memory serves me, there's like 175,000 car trips through that corridor right now. We've got companies like Facebook and Google anxiously wanting to write checks to improve that. We talked about doing the Dumbarton Bridge. So you're taking 2,000 people. So I'd like to make this comment, and if you could specifically add to this and come back to Mr. Bottori. This reminds me of a FDA hearing in another committee. We've got people who want the FDA to do best practices and make sure they don't make mistakes, but they want them to get new inventions, in that instance in biomedicine, into saving lives. In places like the Bay Area and Philadelphia and urban areas, we've got this huge demand, mega trips, people spending 2 hours going both ways, it imperiling the growth of these urban areas where 65% of our GDP comes from. So we want to get it right, but looking forward, what do we learn from this? We can expect new technology, we can expect new innovation, but right now people are struggling with their day-to-day life, and it's impacting the national income if we don't get this infrastructure right. So, Ms. Mortensen, maybe you can, I know about your instance because Mr. Denham's constituents come through my former constituents when I was in the legislature. They're going out there to buy affordable housing. They're working as software engineers in some of the biggest companies in the world. They're taking 2 hours to go, but you're overprescribed. So what are things that you look at your situation, you could take more of those cars off the Altamont, off 580, and put them into a real world-class commuter rail system if we got our act together here at the federal level, and knowing that the state is ramping up, as you said, $1 billion just to that corridor.
Well, I think one observation I've seen about the Facebook issue, and I've been in transportation 25 years, this is the first time where we have flash mob population that ends up at one place at one time. It used to be when an industry would come in, it would take some time to develop the plant, a production plant, a steel plant, you would know how fast it would grow and how many employees would be there over time, and it followed a fairly predictable schedule. With the new tech firms in the Silicon Valley, there can instantly be 19,000 employees in one location, and that's not a unique situation. It's happening over and over again. Government has a difficult time responding so quickly to put the infrastructure together for something like that. And so I'm aware of the issues on the Dumbarton Bridge, a very valuable bay crossing that doesn't exist today. And I think public-private partnerships where we let the public sector take the lead and maybe push things through faster than the government can is a way to look at those kind of situations to solve it faster. We would definitely utilize the Dumbarton Bridge, but if we do the typical government study, design, build process, it'll be 35 years. Hopefully, there is a financial partnership between Plenary and Facebook that has about $1 billion on the table, and I think that kind of thing we should support at the federal, state, and local levels because capacity is critical. We have to solve our own problems within the communities, and then we have to negotiate with our Class 1 railroads. That's a commodity for them. We want our goods too, not just people movement. So it's a give and take on a lot of different fronts.
So, Mr. Bottori, and I'd like to, in the context of Mr. Sumwalt, who NTSB came to your rescue there with a microphone, his quote was, "Every day that we are at risk of a mass casualty event because of human error." So here is the balance. And you said urgency. We've got these demands on commuters, their lives being affected. We want to get new. So what have we learned from this experience? How can we fix this once and for all? But going forward, make sure we're more nimble about getting new technology in place and out into the commuters' benefits.
Thank you for that question. It's just to speak on PTC first. It's been a 10-year journey, and
It's too long.
exactly. What did this phone do 10 years ago? And that we're basically trying to put in a platform that we designed 10 years ago. So as a result, I understand that there may be some frustration and irritation about things that have taken place that evolved from the past. But I'm trying to lead this initiative looking through the windshield and not through the rearview mirror. And we have to go forward. We have to bring closure to PTC 1.0, as I call it, recognizing the calendar gives us as much latitude as 2023. But we can't wait that long. And if we get it done sooner, we can then have a more robust, efficient PTC system that will be less money to maintain and operate. It will have more risk reduction in it, enhancing safety overall. And when you start doing that, you take variability out of the system. And when you take variability out of the system, you create capacity. And that allows for additional organic growth. We see that both in the passenger side and the freight sector. But we've got to get this accomplished and quit worrying about the past.
But the key part, and this is for future hearings, is what have we learned from this experience going forward? So when you put the phone up, this discovery 10 years ago, we don't want to be here 10 years with some undeveloped, unknown technology now going through the same experience. There's a real demand and consequence for everyday people's lives if we don't get better at this. So that's the point of my question. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
If I might be so bold, I think what we've learned is that a mandate that is so specific is what is causing the problem. If the mandate had been reduce accidents by X percent, if the mandate had been reduce fatalities, reduce accidents per train mile, then the industry, working with suppliers, would be able to leapfrog technology, move forward, and I'm hoping that that lesson is learned so that once this platform is put in place, and it's a heck of a platform, that there are a lot of people in the Class 1s now sitting in, smart people. How do we take advantage of this to go to what I refer to PTC 2.0 and get additional safety benefits, additional operational efficiency benefits, but we're going to need an FRA and a Congress that allows us to do that and doesn't impede us from being able to do that.
Thank you, Mr. Hamburger. Mr. Bevan.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, witnesses, for being here. And this will be for Mr. Knoepel. Is that the